Okay. It is Thursday, August 18th, 2022. So you know what that means. We got another episode of the Mad Chatter. So, what's going on, buddy?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, we were having technical difficulties.
Okay.
Sorry.
Technically, I don't think they're a difficulty anymore.
Well, technically we were having difficulties.
Okay.
There we go. The for some reason my microphone was trying to pretend like it was the speakers.
Oh, yeah. I've had that before.
So I was like, okay, what's wrong? What happened? Why is this not doing this? And I was getting a little upset. But I got it all figured out. I was like, before the show started, I was like, hey Jelly, can you hear me?
Yeah.
And I saw your screen go like when you speak with your logo on.
Yeah.
It did the whole bubble size, but I didn't hear nothing. So I was like, we'll get this. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. So, a lot to talk about today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to go right into that stuff. You want to do the Journey into Mystery 97, the side B of the Golden Record. If you'd like to just absolutely tee off on CGC, would you like to talk about some of the new shows?
Let's tee off on this one first. We had such a good response with the Journey into Mystery number 83 in the first appearance of Thor storytelling last week that I went out and I spent a lot of money, sold a book off the wall of my own little personal collection, and we now have Fantastic Four number 1 on the way here. So maybe not next week, but the week after, we'll be playing Fantastic Four number 1, and then whatever's on side B the following week. Yeah. But I thought that would be a nice little starting point. If we can make the money work, we're gonna try to get all 4 of these suckers for you guys, because it was a lot of fun last week. I really enjoyed it.
And it's nice to be able to. I mean, they're hard to find anyway.
Yes.
And the audio for them actually isn't even out there available to listen to.
Right.
So if we can get these, it would be huge.
You know, this audio is, honest to God, 65 years old. Yeah. So I don't see how we would have to even worry about anything copyright-wise. You know what I mean?
Oh, no. I mean, I promise you that's not even in YouTube's realm of auto-checking.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think we're good there. But
we'll just tag Marvel or something on it.
So probably the one after Fantastic Four will probably be Avengers number 4. Oh, that's the cheapest one of the bunch.
And we do have a line for the ASM one.
Yes, I used to own one, and I sold it because, well, I needed money. It happens, right? But I'm reaching out to the same individual I sold it to see if he'll at least loan me the record. So we're hopeful.
Yeah,
because that one's like $2,000.
Yeah,
on the low end.
Yeah. I did find one that was cheaper than that, but the book was absolutely tore up. Which, I mean, I don't have a problem with. It's an ASM1 reprint from 66.
It's a 3-year-old reprint. I mean, it's not like it's
a
50-year-old reprint.
Right. But, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun to do. I'll tell you what, like, sitting down with them and chopping up the comic book to put it to the words, it's a lot of fun. It really makes me appreciate it a lot, for sure.
Hope everyone is doing well. That's funny.
Great.
Inside joke, but that's funny. Oh.
So,
Oh shit! I didn't change my name. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not selling comics right now. We don't do
Jay
that.
want a boob?
Yeah. What is that crap? You don't need my PayPal unless you just want to send me money,
Send money to J1's Patreon.
right?
He sends nudes.
There we go. My apologies. My apologies.
So
I wasn't ready.
did you, in the old lady, watch any more of Sandman?
Finished it.
Okay. What did you think?
So if I watched that show with my father's mother, my grandma, right?
Yeah.
There would be lots of the movie that she would absolutely love.
Okay.
Right? She liked action. She liked magic. She would absolutely love the battle between the Sandman and Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She would think that's the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he says he's hope, and the devil's like, well, there's nothing I can do. My grandma would absolutely just go crazy with that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, she would probably be like, there's no way I can pray enough to pray the gay away in this show, because there is so much.
Yeah, I mean, that was his original intention.
I know. Neil Gaiman said he wrote the story. His exact words were, I wrote this story in the world where everyone is accepted for the way they are and there are no questions asked. And they put it on the screen just like it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wrote the show to reflect the world as he saw it with his friends and things like that, which he had a lot of queer friends.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. I mean, it was still a great story. I mean, the only thing they did that really changed anything was change Constantine to a girl.
Well, they did that in the books, too.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the only thing different from the original.
Yeah. The only time it got too far for me was in the restaurant.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
If they had not, I can say this with pure and total honesty, they could have left that one episode out, and it wouldn't have really changed the story much, and I probably would have liked it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean it.
And I understand the reason behind it.
Yeah.
It was showing why man's flaws and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
and why you're not supposed to be truthful at all times. And I mean, I get it, right? Hi, lady.
I thought it was I thought every episode was really well done.
Yeah.
Oops. I wanted to see if we could talk about that. Have you checked the new She-Hulk?
I was gonna watch it today, but I was busy.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it yet either. But from the MadHouse chat, it sounded like people liked it, and there was a lot of talk about the CGI being good. Which
See?
I thought from the trailers, the CGI looked really bad.
The trailers, it looked like crap, but maybe they just rushed the trailers. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But so I'm going to have to put that on the list to watch tonight. We can talk about it next week.
I didn't like in the preview I saw where they were trying to turn the Hulk into a freaking guru. I didn't like that very much.
Yeah, I agree.
Even Professor Hulk wouldn't have gone that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. I wasn't before, but now that I've heard the good reviews. So Will Albright says it was meh.
Meh. I'll take a meh. Dude, I've started out shows that I thought were meh, and I've like when it's over with, damn, that was good overall.
Yeah, yeah. Sandman I thought was good from the jump. Like I felt like it was strong all the way through. Every episode was good in its own right.
Oh yeah.
The one episode with can't think of his name now. I think was it John D. When he's in the restaurant and nobody can tell a lie, and he keeps going back through.
Yeah.
And eventually everybody ends up killing each other or committing suicide. It was interesting.
Yeah, but first they all did have each other, which was worse.
They still what?
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it went through like all of the human, like the really strong emotions. It was a really interesting episode. I mean, I don't think it progressed the story a whole lot.
Yeah, that's like I'm saying they could have just left that one episode out.
Yeah,
and I probably would have liked the show a lot more overall.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't. I try not to get too overly dirty too often, right? But I don't really appreciate a girl going down on a girl, and I don't really appreciate a guy going down on a guy on my TV. Even though you didn't really see either one, it was straight up insinuated on both. And you're like,
attention, swimmer! You are too far! Return immediately!
he said I'm going too far out there, guys. I'm sorry. I'll just stop now.
No,
but hey, man, I don't. But when I'm watching comic movies, I don't really want to.
No,
see
I get you. If in the context
place.
of it, yeah, you want to keep it in your.
Like there, like
your
I would
hentai.
love. That is no longer a show that my kids can watch with me.
It's
Period.
very adult. Yeah, it's very adult.
Period.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. It's very adult.
Like, I was like, I can take the one scene out of Deadpool, right? And now my kids can watch that movie with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I take the one clip that sex scene out where they're doing everything and he pulls the ring pop out of his for the okay, if I clip that part right there out, that whole from like it starting to it finishing, now we can watch all about it.
If it affects the story, I'm okay with it. If it's just gratuitous, then it's. And again, like you said, in a comic book movie, does it have a place? Probably not. Probably not, but.
Sorry, I will not J1 any more of it.
Oh, Papa, we're going to get there.
Yeah,
Trust
don't
me.
worry about that. I don't want to end the show with the record. I would much
I don't
rather,
either.
I would that way we can talk about it a little bit and then bash the shit out of CGC for a while.
Yeah.
So
I got so many problems with that.
Yeah, I do too. Guys, I think we should do the story first and then come back and bash the shit out of CGC. What's the chat think? Let's get a couple of thumbs up in the chat and we'll start the show. Anybody? Mueller.
We'll get up. This is what, like 15 minutes? It's not long.
Yeah, this isn't going to end the show. This is,
You know what I was kind of bummed about, actually, is the record. So, in the comic, there's like an extra 5 or 6 pages about like Asgard.
That's like a secondary story, yeah.
Yeah, it's with Odin's, like, and I was kind of hoping they would do Odin's origin, and I thought it would be cool, but they didn't, but it's still awesome.
We got 3 stories. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, guys.
I'm gonna go grab a beer.
We'll minimize us. Have some good story time because I love listening to this stuff too. Again,
let's see.
Sit back, relax, put your feet up. I'm going to, and let's have a good time. Turn up your volume.
Hey, we're clean. 24.
trouble. I've got to do something before it crashes into the city.
Swinging his enchanted mallet and holding fast to the unbreakable thong, the mighty thunder god takes to the air.
The pilot is blacked out. His oxygen supply was faulty.
Page 15.
No matter how ingenious mortals are, there is always a chance of human error. But so it is with all of life. Even we gods of Asgard are not truly perfect. There, I freed him in time. Now to set up an irresistible wind current to blow the plane safely out to sea.
Thor, you saved the pilot and prevented the plane from crashing into the city.
Quickly, he needs medical attention.
We'll take over now, Thor. You've done your share.
Boy, what a story. Thor saves pilot in midair.
I owe my life to you, Thor. How can I ever...
Say no more. It is the people who owe much to such as you for guarding our shores.
And then the mighty Thor, the powerful, dauntless god of thunder, who fears nothing that lives, nothing that breathes, races from the scene nervously before the onslaught of hero-worshipping reporters and well-wishers.
Thor, wait. We want some more pictures of you in action.
Hold it! How about an interview? Come back!
No, don't close in on me. I can't be surrounded. I must have space. Room to move.
We're too late. He's taken to the air again.
Seconds later, atop the Midtown building which houses the medical offices of Dr. Don Blake, physician.
I always fear too much publicity. Too many people getting close to me. For there is always the chance that one may accidentally stumble upon the secret of my human identity.
Then the most awe-inspiring figure in all the world stamps his legendary mallet once upon the rooftop beneath his feet, and where the mighty Thor had knelt but a second before, the slim, lame figure of Dr. Don Blake now rises in his place.
So far, so good. Now to go downstairs, walk around the block, and enter my office normally, so as to arouse no suspicion.
As the lame doctor slowly circles the block, he is lost so deeply in thought that he is oblivious to the cries of the corner newsboy.
Extra, extra! All about the strange monster of the volcano!
The headline reads, Inhuman Creature Stalks Scene of New Volcanic Eruption. For Dr. Blake has another matter on his mind, one which deals with his lovely nurse, Jane Foster.
Hello, Jane. Although it's my day off, I thought I'd come and speak to you. I can't put it off any longer. I've got to tell her how I feel about her. Even a thunder god has feelings, emotions. Even Thor can fall victim to love.
I was just finishing an inventory of your medical supplies, Doctor.
Page 17.
Now, what was it you wanted to say to me?
And yet, I don't dare tell her my true feelings. If by some wonderful miracle she should agree to marry me, I would have to reveal that Thor and I are one and the same. And that secret is not mine to divulge, not without the permission of Odin, my father, Lord of the gods of Asgard. Come to think of it, Jane, perhaps this is not the right time.
I think I know what it is that you're trying to say, Doctor. You've wanted to say it to me for months. I can feel it, but why don't you?
Oh, Jane, my darling, if only I could. But give me just one more day. There is one thing I must do first. And then...
Yes, Doctor, I know. There is always just one more thing. Well, a girl can't wait forever, Don Blake. Not for a man who hasn't enough gumption to speak his own mind. Good night, Doctor.
And at that soul-searing moment, the tortured human with a gnarled walking stick makes his decision. Grimly, he stamps his cane upon the floor. As a powerful thunderclap fills the room.
I can postpone it no longer.
It must be done. But I must do it as Thor, son of Odin.
A microsecond later, the mighty thunder god faces a half-open window, and then...
Noble Odin, Show thyself to thy son. I summon thee, O my immortal father.
Speak then, mighty Thor. I grant thee leave to petition me.
My heart is torn with love, my father. I crave permission to marry a mortal girl, the nurse of Dr. Blake, the one known as Jane Foster.
Have you taken leave of your senses? The god of thunder marrying a mortal? It is impossible. Petition refused.
My father, wait! Hear me out, you must! Too late. He is gone.
Shocked, disappointed, the stunned superhero turns from his window, still unaware of the commotion in the streets below.
Looks grim, doesn't it? Lava Man? Who is he? What is he?
Extra, more about Lava Man. Governor summons National Guard. Read all about it. Lava Man nearing city. Extra.
The newspaper headlines read, Menace from volcano identified as Lava Man. First photos of strange creature from under Earth's surface. Havoc widespread. Thousands flee. Rally troops to stop Lava Man. What one pair of ears do not hear. One aching heart does not respond.
He has never refused me before. I cannot give her up. And yet, I must.
While in Asgard itself, another son of Odin surveys the dramatic tableau on Earth. Loki, god of mischief, sworn enemy of his brother Thor, gloats with evil glee at the thunder god's dilemma.
Now is the time for me to strike against the hated Thor. Now when his heart is heavy, when his hand will be unsure. But I am still a prisoner of Asgard, unable to leave. Again I must find a cat spoor, an agent to do the task for me.
Age 19.
But wait, that devastated area below. It is the work of a new menace who has appeared upon Earth. A menace known as the Lava Man. I had forgotten about him, although it was I who brought him to the surface as a sinister prank when I mentally caused a long-dead volcano to erupt. I shall watch in amusement as he defeats the heartsick Thor.
Meantime, we find Thor once again in his earthly identity as Dr. Blake.
There is only one thing I can do. I must disavow my heritage. I must give up my role as Thor. Only if I become truly human will I be able to marry the girl I love. And yet, how can I forsake my life as god of thunder?
Doctor, may I speak to you for a moment?
Jane, I was just thinking of you. I was trying to come to a decision.
I'm afraid it's too late for any decisions now, Doctor. I'm leaving. I've accepted a position as nurse with Dr. Basil Andrews.
Andrews? That wolf who has always tried to date you? To take you from me? Why? Why, Jane?
Because I know what you wanted to ask me, Don. And I know how I feel about you. And I won't take the chance of saying yes to a man who is too weak to speak his mind.
Then, this is goodbye, Jane.
Minutes later, dazed and defeated, Don Blake walks the streets of the city, his head aching, his heart racked with anguish.
Got to run. Got to leave the city.
The headlines read, Bulletin, Lava Man near city. Residents flee suburbs.
All my strength, my power, useless to me now.
Citizens, take cover. Clear the streets. This is an emergency. The Lava Man is approaching.
Troops in the city. An emergency. Lava Man. What is happening?
The next sight he sees is so startling, so fearful, that it drives his personal problem from his mind, as Dr. Blake beholds
The Lava Man! Fire!
Humans, this is my final warning. Evacuate the cities. Take to the sea. I claim all the dry surface of Earth for the lava people.
It's useless. Our shells are charred before they can reach him.
Too long have we dwelled below.
while you puny humans enjoyed the fruits of the surface. Your weapons are distasteful to me. I shall destroy them. So!
All he did was point his hand.
Our rifles, bazookas. They've all turned to volcanic ash.
Fall back. Regroup. We've got to make new defense plans.
Page 21.
But suddenly, like a blazing streak of unchained fury, Thor, god of thunder, leaps to the attack.
Back, you demon from the nameless depths. The surface belongs to mankind, and Thor is their protector.
Your word is as futile as your deeds, costumed one. The day of the humans is over. Do not prolong their agony.
This is what I needed. Action, combat, a foe to lash out at. Not for me are the romantic pursuits of human beings. I was born for battle. My limbs ache to smash and shatter. He's gone. Can I have... No. I felt no impact. I did not strike him. Only one answer. He has the power to melt the ground beneath his feet.
Seconds later, the mighty thunder god discovers another power of the amazing lava men. As a powerful underwater geyser spouts up from the bottomless chasm below.
The depths are his to command. He is a foe worthy of my mettle, but he must be defeated. Do my ears deceive me, or do I seem to hear laughter? Sinister chortles ringing down from above.
You hear correctly, despised one. Loki is watching, and I applaud the fact that you have at last met your match.
Ugh. Not yet, god of evil. The final blow has yet to be struck. The final note yet to be sounded. The city has been evacuated. All that remain are the lava man and me. But before darkness falls, one of us shall remain no more. Look well, evil Loki. See how the thunder god fights when humanity is in peril. Fly, my enchanted mallet. Seek out my enemy. Let your irresistible force flush him out into the open, where he can feel the full fury of the wrath of Thor.
The costumed one's weapon! I must not let it strike me!
Return to your master, my Uru hammer. You have done your work well. Your flight is useless, inhuman one. There is no place on earth where you can be safe from the power of the thunder god.
Bah! No mere surface dweller can defeat me.
Page 23.
Observe, helpless Thor. Note how his power is almost limitless. See how he hurls a mass of quick-drying, blinking lava at you.
Let him hear what he will, Loki. I welcome his attack, for my heart longs for battle.
You fight for your cause, mighty one, but I fight for mine. My people have earned the right to claim Earth's surface for their own.
Not so. The universe is huge, endless. There is room for all. There is still time for you to follow the path of peace. Your people and the humans may yet exist side by side in friendship.
Never! Humanity is weak. It cannot defend itself. It has no place on Earth. Only the strong shall survive. Just as I am strong, and you are defeated.
You had your chance, Lava Man. Now you can expect no mercy. And if Loki still gloats above, he is doomed to bitter disappointment.
Silence! I now dispose of you as easily as I shall destroy all of humanity. Nothing can free itself of the thick coat of lava. Now that I have stilled his empty words, I can turn to the task at hand. I must lead my people to the surface so that we may take possession of all the earth.
For years, men have acclaimed my might. Now, as never before, must it prove itself. Even as I lie here, I can flex my muscles until they become almost rock hard. Now, by marshaling all my strength, by making one supreme effort, I can feel my body throb, my sinews strain. The moment is at hand, the one fateful surge of energy.
At that incredible instant, if any human eyes could have witnessed the sight, they would have seen the body of Thor actually glowing, as though charged with unimaginable force, as he shattered the crushing mass which surrounded him.
I'm free!
No! It isn't possible! Nothing human could have escaped my lava trap!
This is no human you face, Lava Man. This is Thor, god of thunder, son of Odin, lord of Asgard.
Pull yourself what you will. I shall still crush you into nothingness. Even your flying hammer cannot stop me from turning into a tower of lava which nothing can shatter.
My enchanted hammer can do more than strike. It can create storm, thunder, and whirlwind.
Page 25.
A whirlwind strong enough to carry you high into space, to keep you helpless as you spin faster than the speed of sound. My hammer must return within 60 seconds. But I shall join you before you can fall, for I have not done with you yet. Are you watching, Loki? Do you see how easily Thor is defeated? Are you still gloating, still sneering? No. You are silent now, as I knew you would be, my frustrated foe. As for the Lava Man, he was spawned by an erupting volcano, and he shall return from whence he came.
Pounding the top of a nearby mountain with his awesome hammer, the mighty Thor causes the entire peak to fall upon the top of the volcano, sealing it and the strange race which dwells within forever.
Thus do I return the Lava Man to his own kind. For Earth's surface shall never be violated while Thor endures.
Moments later, a dramatic flying figure hurtles back to the heart of the city and the medical office of Dr. Don Blake.
Now that the menace of the Lava Man is ended, I must see Jane again. There must be some way I can prevent her from leaving me.
But by the time the lame doctor can reach his office...
Jane, Dr. Bruce Andrews.
What? I'm glad you've come, Don. I was waiting for you. I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye.
Jane is going to work for me, Blake. I'm sure you understand.
Jane, I know I've no right to insist, to plead, but...
It's too late for that now. I waited, hoping you'd return, hoping you'd finally say what I've longed to hear, but while the city was threatened by the Lava Man, you didn't even care enough to find me. Dr. Andrews drove me to the suburbs, looked after me. A woman wants a man, Dr. Blake, not a timid mouse. And so I'm leaving.
Don't worry, Blake. You'll find another nurse.
After the two have departed, a bitter figure stares sadly out of the window, thinking thoughts that no human would ever suspect.
Of all those who walk the earth, Thor is the mightiest. And yet, I'm powerless to win the one prize I want more than any other. Is this to be my destiny? Must the Thunder God live out his days alone?
The end.
Well, Jane, you filthy whore.
All right, there we go. All right, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. It's good though. I like the audio actually sounded a little bit better in that one.
Oh, 100%.
I thought it was going to be really quiet when I was editing it.
I'm just saying, if I was Dr. Donald Blake, I would have just, tapped the hammer, taken care of Andrews, bedded Jane, and been like, all right, life's good.
Yep. Well,
I'm going to have to be like this for a little while.
Just a pile of goo. Okay.
But I'll come and contemplate and talk and everything else. So, I'm gonna give you a little personal here, guys. Today I got real quick. I got diagnosed with a blood clot in my right leg. It's superficial. It's not major, but I have to keep my leg elevated every so often, and I take some medicine for it. So it was just literally hours ago. That's why why I said today sucks. But so this is gonna be me. When you see me in the auctions, this is gonna be me in between the rounds. But for this talk show, I kept it down for as long as I could, and I'm like, nah, it's starting to throb. So
Yep. Keep it elevated. It'll keep the heat down too. Is your leg hot?
It is warm. It is.
Yeah, it'll keep the heat down too. So, shall we load our weapons here?
Oh, dude, I'm freaking ready to go.
Yeah, battle rattle ready? Okay.
Dude.
So, should I go ahead and go over what's happened so far?
So let's talk about what is like. So let's just ask the chat. Did anybody in the chat see Jim Lee selling comics live?
Right, so we're just going right into it. Okay.
From CGC.
Okay. So
just curious.
We'll just do a quick recap of here of what
Please
happened.
do.
So
Please do.
It started at C2E2. Black Cave Comics had a joke of an exclusive that they did about 3 months ago. Was it 3 months ago?
No, it was almost a year ago they did the original.
Was it?
Original, yeah.
What did I think it was like 3 or 6 months ago. Okay. Anyway, it's old.
Yeah.
So what they did was, it was a Clayton Crane exclusive. So they had him design an acetate cover for it, and they stapled an acetate cover to it and sold it at C2E2 as the con exclusive. They had 750 copies of it. The majority were bought by what we'll call influencers in the community at, 75, 100, 125 at a pop, leaving very few for the people standing in line to get it. The original price was $75. Once they sold out, they found a box that was promised to somebody else, and they jacked the price up to $100, and we're selling those then. So the big thing with that was the influencers were bypassing the line because they had apparently had agreed upon a certain number with Black Cave before the event. So it's not really an event exclusive if you're buying everything before the event. Anyway, I sidestep a little bit.
You're good.
So the other issue is T-Pain. You want to come on, man? Let me send you a link. So the other issue is those comics are being graded by CGC and are getting very high grades, and they're getting blue labels, which they referred back to Stray Dogs had an acetate cover on it, and it got a blue label, saying it also had the same manufacturing defects.
Although that was done by the publishers.
That was done by Image. So that is still the publisher's manufacturing. This was done on the side by something not approved by Marvel. So that's where the big problem is with that.
True.
Meow. Star Wipe to what? Has it been a week or 2 weeks since that's happened? Since the con?
About that.
So now they showed up. CGC has their own channel and whatnot. And they did their first show, which started off with Jim Lee. Obviously, Jim Lee's the head of DC. So, okay. So Jim Lee's there doing a signing from what I understand.
That's what it was supposed to be
allegedly
a break. And I know someone who was there with them. I will get in trouble if I name drop.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you on the side if you want to know.
Okay.
But he said that it was just as like they kind of advertised, where Jim Lee, in between signings, took a break to sell live. Yeah. But I know my guy might also be prejudiced as well. So how well I trust, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, so they've got Jim Lee under the CGC banner selling on whatnot. Well, not selling. Technically not selling.
Yeah.
So this is the first step of CGC getting around that. They're going to have artists come in from CGC and sell their things, which I'm sure CGC is going to grade and give really nice grades to.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's probably going to be very monetarily
beneficial,
advantageous to CGC.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's no doubt in my mind that they won't take a hunk of the money.
So, and another thing that they did on this live stream.
Oh, my. This is what the fuck?
Who's co-hosting a guy I actually like, Skeff. However, who's at the center of this scandal with the influencers? Skeff's one of the guys that bought 125 copies.
Yep.
So, what the fuck, CGC and whatnot? You're just going to double down and say, fuck you to all the rest of us? I'm bringing T-Pain's in the back. I want to bring him in.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey.
What's up, T-Pain?
Oh, not much. I figured, hell, y'all were giving y'all opinion on this. I'd come in and chime in on mine.
Well, hey, man.
Dude.
I got a lot of opinions on this.
Yeah.
Oh, with me, it all starts with CGC before the Jim Lee signing and all that. It started with them giving blue labels to a tampered book because Marvel didn't put that cover on. The guy who bought the books from Marvel did. Okay, it's got 4 staples. That should be a green label.
Absolutely. And
because if I send a book in signed, which is me doing the same thing that guy did,
Well, and it's unlicensed by Marvel, so it also should be labeled as a
counterfeit.
Counterfeit, yeah, absolutely, should be labeled as a counterfeit.
Well, they would give it an NG, no grade.
Right, exactly, and that's exactly what it should be. If we're sticking to the rules that CGC made, which I guess if you make the rules, you don't have to follow them, apparently.
Exactly.
But I mean, as collectors, what does this do for you guys with trust in CGC?
To be honest, I'm gonna take all my business to their competition.
Right?
I'd love to do that, but as a collector and a reseller, they got me over a barrel.
Well, not really, because if you start looking at prices, they're getting closer and closer. And the one thing you got to remember about CBCS is they're owned by Beckett. Beckett is one of the most trusted graders in sports cards, autograph authentications, and everything.
Well, I'm with you.
They'll screw. They might have screwed an autograph up one time. I mean, they have some of the same problems as CGC about getting stuff wrong or that, but that happens every now and then. But as far as grading and actually trusting the grade and trusting the company I'm dealing with after this whole shabacle, CGC's just lost all my trust.
Oh, I mean, I'll say I was skeptical of CGC to begin with, even before this, but now it's, I mean, they shit the bed and did it publicly and then stood by it. And they're just rolling around in it right now.
So what's the company that bought out CGC?
It was. Hang on.
It's a finance group, essentially.
It's a finance group.
So that tells you right now
that it's like Blackwater,
something like that,
something like that.
Yeah, they don't care about nothing but that bottom line, making that money.
100%. They got to make sure they make their money. And that's it.
Blackstone.
Yeah.
Blackstone.
Yeah.
So their whole goal from here on out, no matter what happens, is going to be money. There is.
This might answer your question. The official currency of the United States is the United States.
Tell her she got to go.
Yeah, I turned her off. Sorry about that. It's Alexa. But the biggest thing is that money is going to be their number one driving factor no matter what now. Period. Point blank.
But
CBCS is a tougher grader.
They're a better, more consistent grader, and they have been for a while.
And here's the problem.
But
if they got the amount of books they got at CGC, at CBCS on a daily basis, they would not even come close to being able to handle it. They literally just moved into a whole new facility in Plano, Texas.
Yeah.
It's much larger. They've got new staff. They're training them how to grade. I mean, they're working on it. Their customer service lines are now no longer. Hold on, let me put this out. They're no longer.
They're on site. How about that way?
I don't want to say. They were sent to other countries.
They were farming out their
their
customer service, but yes, that was literally one of the only issues I had with them. Is I've had lots of books sent to CBCS, and when you have a problem with CBCS, and this is past history, I don't know how it is right now. It's a bear to figure out where your books are and how to find them.
I literally, right? So I live in Oklahoma City. I literally had to drive to Texas, beat on their door. I don't want to say kick their door in, but essentially that's what I did to get them to find my books that they had lost for months.
Yep.
Like it'd been 8 months on a 2-day modern signature series.
Which that has happened countless amounts of times to me with CGC as well.
I agree. But the difference is I could call CGC and I would get satisfaction in the long run. With CBCS, I talked to an individual in India A week later, I talked to an individual in the Philippines. A week later, like I was calling every other week for a while, and then every week until I would talk to team leaders, team managers, supervisors, but they could never, ever, ever transfer me to a person in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Where CBCS was located.
All right, so not shitting on CBCS.
Nope.
Love everybody to use CBCS. But CGC still has the premium on slabs for resale.
Yeah, for resale.
For resale. Right now.
And
the slabs for CBCS are just as good. The labeling is different, but actually the information on the label's better, in my opinion. And it's and the grade is almost always spot on.
Yeah.
If I look at something and I'm like, this might be a 9.2 or 9.4, you know what? It's coming back as a 9.2, 9.4. Now, CGC, you might get a 9.8 or you might get an 8.5. You know,
exactly.
It's just all over the place.
And I'll give you an example, and where CGC kind of, I don't know who's looking at the books, because I bet Disco said the other night that he's probably sent 10 in. I've sent 7 in of Secret Wars 8, which is a hard book to get a 9.8 on.
Mm-hmm.
But the next one I send is going to go to CBCS, because I sent 7 copies in that I had actually 2 of the big dogs at Overstreet look at. I won't mention no names, but they're like, oh God, yeah, if that don't get a 9.8, something's bad wrong, or better. Every book I sent in out of the 7, all 7 come back 9.6. 2 of them we looked at and we thought would come back at 9.6. 3 of them were maybe, maybe not, but 2 were a definite. I mean, you could.
So when you're saying definite, you actually had more like a 9.9 contender kind of possibility.
Exactly. I mean, I had contributors to Overstreet say it was a 9.9 contender.
Yeah.
That has been in this hobby for 50 years grading books.
Well, if you watched Ty Zalazar posted a CGC unboxing the other day. Now, I know he's got a good eye. You know, he's like the rest of us. He's been doing it forever. He's had lots of books graded. And when he's saying, you know, I think this book was probably a 9.6 and it comes back a 9.0, that is a huge difference. Huge difference. And I mean, that shouldn't be. I mean, we all got good eyes. We should all be within 0.2 of each other, or be able to give a range.
Absolutely.
Pretty spot on. And when you're, I mean, there's a big difference between a 9.6 and a 9.0.
100%. Excuse me.
So, but that's whatever. That's not the major problem. It's part of the problem with CGC, but the fact that they are now doubling down and spitting in our faces with this whole scandal and bringing the major actors in the scandal and just not even caring. I mean,
they don't care about the collector market. I mean, they don't care.
No.
But I mean, what a big one?
Yeah.
How long until CGC has their own exclusive?
Oh, I'd say if not by the end of the year, early in the first of next year, if not sooner, if they've not already got it in the works.
I mean, I'm being dead serious. When it comes right down to it, how long until they have their own exclusive? Because I'm telling you, that's fucking coming.
Oh, yeah.
So, on July 22nd, CGC has partnered with Big Time Collectibles to release its first ever set of exclusive variant covers.
Ha!
Yep.
You want to talk about a goddamn conflict of interest? That's it.
Yep. And the whole
So-
thing with CGC is when they first came out, they said, you know, they were going to try to be principled people. I mean, and the thing about Beckett, I don't know if they do it for CBCS, but I know like the group that grades their sports cards
Mm-hmm.
are not allowed to collect sports cards.
So CGC does have rules that their employees can't grade. Now I don't know if they can't be graded at all, but they do have a rule where they cannot grade. I don't know if it's just their own and other employees' books or what, but there is a rule at CGC, and I had to look it up to figure it out, but they do have some sort of rule in place.
So CGC's new exclusive is going to have to get graded by CBCS?
Oh, yeah, that would
You
be
think so?
hilarious.
Well, that's how they're going to have to get around that rule, right?
No, there's 300. There's 300 copies sequentially numbered. It's Batman 125.
I know.
And you'll have 300 9/8. Well, I won't say 300. I'll say 290.
No, you're going to
and
factor
then
in.
you'll
There's going
have
to be some
a little
10s and
higher.
some 9/9s.
Yeah, you forgot the 10s and 9/9s.
Yeah.
And there'll be a splat, dude. So honest to God, right? The CGC's money grab. Let's be real serious here. CGC's money grab started with Bad Idea Comics, with the empty comic.
Yeah.
That was their start of the money grab.
There was something before that, and I can't remember what it was at this point. There was something before that that led into that quote-unquote invisible comic. And I actually thought the invisible comic, I was like, if it's a one-time thing, I was like, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
I'm a huge Bad Idea fan. I love their stories. Their stories are amazing. Their art is amazing. Their comics are like pristine.
Yeah.
Well,
you could take one off a rack and get a 9.9 because that's the quality of book they put out.
Well, I mean, look at their back covers, for God's sakes.
Yeah, that's true, dude.
They're as good as the front, if not better.
Yeah, every single one of them deserves a freaking blank backer board because the back art is just as good as the front art, if like you said, if not better.
Yeah,
100%. So, that being said, where do we stand as a community? I mean, we're just going to let this happen. I mean, so Jim Lee doesn't give a flying fuck about selling comics on Whatnot.
No.
Yeah.
Now, unless he shows up with 10,000 copies of Batman 127 and sits there for 8 hours and tries to sell all of them, then he don't give a shit. You know, he got paid by CGC and Whatnot to be there.
Yeah.
You know. So this is what Whatnot and CGC are going to do to make it look like they're not profiting from these selling of these books. They're going to start having artists come on with their own channels and selling their stuff on them. And I guarantee you, if they have buy it nows and stuff, that's all going to be set up by Whatnot. I guarantee CGC is going to be saying, oh, we'll guarantee so many 9/8s or 9/9s or 10s. So anybody that wants to buy them. I'd love to see these acetate cover 10s. I'd love to have one in my hand and look at it and see how perfect it is.
Well, here's the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
These books sat around for how long?
Oh.
I mean, you're talking months, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
And when
all
a
they did was
comic
put lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, but when a comic sits around for months, no matter what you do to it, right? Because of the paper material, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gets those little waves.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure.
An acetate cover, yes, is going to have a much higher grade, right? If you're grading the exterior cover, right? It's
Sure.
going to have a higher grade. But you're not grading just the cover. You're grading
Yeah,
the
I was going to say,
entire
I thought they graded the
book.
whole book.
Yeah.
And do you know what you can't do to an acetate cover? You can't press it appropriately. So
Like
how did
gold
they get
press it.
all the waves out of all the other pages in the comic? That's
Well,
my question.
Do you think they actually did?
As a completely, like, you know, my wife presses comics, right? You know that. Like, most of the community knows that, right? Mrs. Presser.
Yep.
Sometimes she has to go in and do work on individual pages, right? And sometimes they're brand new books shortly right off the shelf. Then what?
Yeah.
So how do they get around those pages having sat around for a year? I mean, unless they were packed perfectly and tightly, bagged and boarded in like meticulousness in a humidity-free room, how?
It's damn near impossible.
That's why I said I'd love to get. I wish one would fall off a truck right outside my house because I'd love to crack it open and take a look at it. But
I've never had a 10. I've never had a 10.
Have I.
I've had 2 9.9s.
I've had 1 9.9, and it.
I
and
take that
it
back.
was,
I've had 4 9.9s because 2 of them were metal.
Yeah. Yep.
I've had
exactly.
one regular bound 9.9, and I've had 1 square bound 9.9.
Yeah.
And then 2 metals. But never a 10. So how? And I mean, you could take a book right off the press and like give it to CGC and it wouldn't get a 10.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm trying to think how many I've even seen, how many 10s, and they're almost all metal covers.
Exactly. They're all, everyone that I've seen that's been a 10 has been a metal cover.
Yeah.
So do you guys remember the silver sheet prints they did with the covers? With like
sheet? Oh yeah, yes.
They were 1 troy ounce silver sheets.
Yeah.
That had the original art of like Hulk 1, Tales of Suspense 39. I mean, all the big keys, right? Though a lot of those got 10s.
Yeah, those
right?
well, and those actually, let me think. They came from, I think
Australia.
Australia. They were minted in Australia.
Yeah, they were minted in Australia because they're
New
literally
Zealand or something like that.
They're literally troy ounce.
Yeah,
covers
pressed out fine, right? And they graded them like they would a comic, right? And it's just the cover. That's all it is. But a lot of those got 10s, but they still had a bunch, and I mean a bunch of 9.9s and 9.8s and 9.6s, and you're talking sheet metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's flawless. How could it not be the 10 or the 9.9?
Sure.
You know, anything can happen in shipping as far as the 10s, because if it gets a little scratch on that cover, that's the biggest thing with the metal covers that I've noticed is a fingerprint.
Oh yeah.
Or a small scratch. But other than that, unless you just clean the crap out of it, I mean, purposely, or somebody done like they did yours and looked like they threw them 20 foot in the air during shipping, I mean, it's hard to mess with those covers.
Yeah.
I mean, metal covers make me nervous because if you drop them or anything, you are fucked.
Yes.
Yeah, you've done ruined.
I mean, there is no pressing it out. There is, it just, I mean, you would have to have a metal worker come in.
To be, I was about to say, just to let you know, I've got 20 years metalworking experience. Even if you did press it out, once it got the bend in it because of the stretch of the metal, the cover's going to be bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just fractions, but it would still be bigger.
No, it's. I mean, you got. I mean, once the dent's in there, you're talking about stretching and shrinking metal. Yeah. But I mean, but what I mean, they really just shit in our cereal by doubling down with this going into. I mean, they bring in an influencer that everybody was, and I like Skeff. He's a nice guy. But they bring a guy in that is kind of at the center of a scandal and sit him next to the head of DC, selling under the CGC banner on Whatnot, a seller's platform.
Yep.
It's not like it's YouTube where he's just doing a video.
I understood Whatnot. I liked Whatnot. I was good with it. I didn't like. I started to lose my love of Whatnot and my like of Whatnot when they started bringing in the large comic book stores.
Sure.
I'm like, really? I'm like, does Elite Comics really need to be on here? I'm like, seriously? I understood mom and pop shops. I was good with that. Right?
Yeah.
Bring it on. I understood collectors. I understood YouTube sellers, the Facebook sellers, the guys that are out there working hard, right?
Sure, it's just it's another platform to sell, but
exactly.
I mean, when you have and maybe
multi-million-dollar companies coming in,
yeah, and not even that, but coming in getting priority.
Here's the thing about Whatnot that I think is going to happen. You're going to see Whatnot bought out by a big.
Oh, absolutely.
Conglomerate, just like CGC did, because
if you don't,
it's basically turning into an easier eBay.
Well,
so
when you
eBay
get real,
is doing live selling.
Yes.
If you don't think that eBay's not going to buy out Whatnot, to not only get their clientele but get their technology that they've spent all this money on developing, then you're crazy.
Now, guys, this is the real serious thing about Whatnot. Think about this. Comic books, in all, do not account for 5% of their sales.
Yeah. They sell everything.
Everything. Comic books do not even take up 5% of their sales. And we're only bitching and complaining about that little tiny little
just
that
a little
sliver.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? I know friends. I have friends that do the cards and stuff like that. I have friends that do the shoes and the clothing. My wife has friends that does high end clothing, like stuff from the 40s and 50s, 60s and 70s, designer stuff from back then. And like that stuff. You'd be surprised. You'd see Hulk 181 money on a dress.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you'd
purses
be
and stuff
surprised
like
on
that.
how much the Levi's go for that I bought back when I was in high school.
Yes.
Well, the thing about Levi's is, so my ex-wife was Polish, and so from Poland, they would go bonkers. We would send cases of Levi's over there, and they would go bonkers. Like we were sending them gold bricks.
But sorry. So I when they let the big stores in, that's when I was down on them, right? But then they started letting in all the comic book artists.
Yeah.
Right? That was step 2. That was the next phase, right? Letting all the comic artists in, which, hey, maybe put them in a different category.
Do you know what is currently because I mean, when we got into Whatnot, I mean, they were literally still in beta.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a phone call, a personal phone call.
From Chancellor.
By Chancellor. Our interview was done over the phone. And
I didn't even have an interview.
Oh yeah, he called me and talked to me.
No, he
for
called
an
me.
hour.
He called me and he invited me to come sell. He's like, I've seen you on the show. I like your personality. I think you're going to be great.
Yeah. So he called me. I talked to him for probably close to an hour. And he was just asking me questions and, what do you have? What do you like about the app? What should we add? And so I was just kind of hitting him up with everything I thought about. And, you know, I mean, it wasn't like anything groundbreaking or anything, but it was all stuff that came down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very personal, and it was very different from what I think happens now.
Oh, it's completely different, dude.
They were very
Onboarding now
selective.
is like you're onboarding with groups of people now at the same time.
Yeah. So I think all the people that got those personal phone calls in the beginning are all the people on the back of the books.
Oh yeah. So like when I had my phone call with Chancellor and he invited me to come sell.
Yeah.
He gave me his work phone number, his work cell phone number, his personal cell phone number, and his personal email. That if I had any issues, I can get a hold of him just about at any time.
Yep.
Right? And I was like, this is really cool. I like this, right? They're trying to do everything they can to help the seller. That's what they're all about. They want to make sure they've given the seller a great platform. And
I
I'm
would
like,
literally
that's
text
amazing.
him after my first couple. I would literally text him and be like, "Hey, what's going on with the dual stream process or whatever?" And I would get like, he would send me
Details.
emails, like memos from inside the company saying like, "Here's where we are," and on this like feature and stuff like that. And then I saw Torpedo come on, and I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go." And now they've just completely jumped the shark. Like, it's just, I mean,
as Evan put right there, that right, like I don't think it's going to show right, but you know what? It did, yeah. Right there, Whatnot was flooded.
Absolutely,
1,000%.
Yeah.
At any given time of day, you're talking from 0001 to 2400, or 2359, right? There are multiple comic sellers on at all freaking times.
Yeah.
And that's
Whatnot. You really can't blame them. I mean, they're there to make money.
I mean, they've developed a really nice platform. I kind of don't have a problem with Whatnot in this whole thing. I mean, they're in there to make money. I don't think their intention in the beginning was to be bought out. I think it is now. But I got no problem with them. I got no problem with Black Cave and the influencers making deals on the side. I don't really have a problem with that. My problem's with CGC.
Yeah, well,
and their lack of impartiality. Like, it's just...
That's the biggest thing. And another thing with me is like, and the influencers have kind of got on my nerves because, and it's not from them buying millions of copies of this book more than anybody else could get it. It's them pumping this book that they know is a tampered book like it's, you know, legit.
eBay.
Now, T-Pain, let me tell you, man, I don't know if you know this or not, but you're one of those influencers.
Well, I know that, and well,
you
my mind on it.
I know, and you are a commensurate seller and YouTube personality that is known in the comic book community. Maybe not as well known as others, but
yeah,
dude.
I mean, well, I'll put it this way: I'm not we're not, you know, I'm not a comic Tom. I don't even have my own channel. I just come on the auctions because I like to do it, have fun.
Yeah.
Try to help people out with their collections.
Well, I mean, and that's
be able to build my collection from doing it.
We're not trying to make money on a brand. We're not branding ourselves. And that is the difference, you know. We're just trying to have fun, sell some books, kind of hang out.
But the big influencers like that are buying like you were talking about, he bought 125 copies of that book.
Yeah.
Okay. He's going to push that book hard because he paid money for it, knowing that it's basically a counterfeited book, and he's going to say it's the best thing in the world. My point is when it's all settled down, and
if I had
I
125,
feel sorry for the collectors that are going to pay exorbitant amounts of money for this book, and in 10 years, it's not even going to be considered.
Yeah, but
if you're going to fall for it, you deserve it.
Yeah, that's the fucking morons that's doing it, dude. You're so honest to God, man.
If I had 125 copies of that book, if I'd have been in that line and I bought 125 copies, you better be right. It'd be the best goddamn book you'd ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I'd be marketing it. If I had 125 copies to get rid of, I'd be like, well, this is the controversial book. You better own it before it goes away, and blah blah blah.
Do you mean Cover of Darkness, sir?
Yeah. I mean,
because that's the book we're talking about here, guys. It's so controversial. If you don't have a copy yet, you should probably get one.
It is, but I mean, I enjoyed the story for it, and I am impartial because I love Gorkum Demir's work. But is it for everybody? Well, clearly not. It's not for everybody, but what was I looking up?
Papa, I love you, brother. I just thought of something that was so funny.
God.
Yeah, we got Invincibles.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, so, I got an Invincible, and I got it. Actually, J1 still has it. It's it came back in 9.8.
9.8.
But the main reason I wanted that book, I don't collect Invincibles, but the reason once I get that it's going into PC is because it's got certain friends of mine's name on the back.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason I want that book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there's.
I literally, the copies I got right into my PC. Couldn't believe it. My name's on the book. What a cool thing.
Exactly.
I bought other copies to sell.
It's kind of packed up, Evan. It's kind of packed up. I know.
It out, Jay.
It's packed up.
So another interesting question now that we've
T-Pain just read my comment.
CGC. What do you think about eBay?
See why I get in. I think eBay is going to be fine.
Yeah.
eBay is so big and so powerful, right? That they can, honest to God, they could absolutely crush Whatnot and not bat an eye.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, you think about their current infrastructure with users already.
Yeah, millions and millions and millions of users. I mean,
and the fact that they've got their own pay system. I mean, look, they basically own PayPal.
Essentially.
Yeah. I mean,
and they're worldwide with the exception of South Korea, certain parts of China.
South Korea? You mean North Korea?
North Korea. Sorry, I said South.
North
Korea, certain parts of China, and one other country, and I can't remember. But otherwise, they're pretty much everywhere in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, and to come on that, I used to sell sports cards on eBay, and I have shipped sports cards practically to everywhere in the world, every continent except for Antarctica. And I guarantee you, if there was somebody there that collected sports cards, somebody would be shipping there.
Well, yeah, Evan, absolutely. I mean, they are bringing in. I mean, Post Malone's I would say A-list. Logan Paul, he's a D-bag. But I mean,
I don't know who either of them are.
So Post Malone's a recording art, very talented guy actually.
Yeah.
So he went on Whatnot, and there was a, I don't know, raffle.
Oh, he did that. That's the guy that did the giveaway. That
he did the $100,000 match.
That was last
Magic.
week.
Yeah.
It was during our show.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. and the fan won. Logan Paul would spend millions of dollars on Pokemon cards and stuff, and open them, and so yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, I would, if I had the collectibles platform, I'd want those guys on there too, especially because they're not only very large. I don't even know if I'd call Post Malone an influencer just because he's a musical artist, but he definitely influences things.
I would love to see Whatnot reach out to a guy like, and don't hate me for these, okay? But I know these guys are huge comic book guys, but Mark Hamill, or Nicolas Cage, or a couple other guys.
That would be awesome to see Nick Cage.
Well, dude, Mark Hamill
get him on our show. Should we talk? Should we?
Mark Hamill's actually wrote some books. I mean, I forget the name of the title, but it's the first one I can remember him doing was it was by Dark Horse. It was back in the 90s, and it's not a bad book. Didn't get a lot of press, because it's Dark Horse book, but I mean, he's all up in it, and I don't think bringing people like that into Whatnot is hurting. It's actually bringing more of an audience to people that sell stuff, but it's the whole CGC thing is just
Black Pearl the Black Pearl.
root.
Mark Hamill did the Black Pearl.
Yeah, Black Pearl.
But yeah, so I got no problems with these guys coming in and bringing more people in. I got a problem with like the big guys coming in and
taking over.
Well, I mean, so many people go to the big guys that they charge crazy prices. I mean, a lot of those are over fair market. I mean, I'll give Torpedo credit where credit's due. They grade their books very conservatively.
Yeah.
I will give them that credit, but they also sell them for well over fair market value.
Fucking A, they do.
And people go into them because they're reputable and are spending the same money with, and I'm not like, you're not spending money with me, but they're not looking any further than just that. Like, there's a whole community out here selling the same books and not putting a premium markup on them.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I don't really get is a lot of the new buyers, and like I've been on, and nothing wrong with it. I kind of enjoyed being on there. Was watching a Very Gary auction.
Sure.
But people will pay over fair market value just to say, I bought a book from Very Gary.
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the only time that it should matter where you got a book, if
you got it from an estate.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
from a personal collection of
FBI collection.
It's not a pedigree.
Yeah, the pedigree books. Now, I have paid over fair market value, which they go for over fair market value, is for documented file copies.
Oh, sure. Hell yeah, dude! I have a fucking...
Yeah, the Joe Palooka. Yeah, that right there is one. That book.
This is a file copy of Joe Palooka.
Yeah.
It still gets me, the fucking green label.
Green label. This is what's fucking funny.
Green label because it don't have staples.
4 staples is a blue label, but 0 staples
is a green label.
See, that's my whole thing. And the thing is, CGC wouldn't have had a problem with that book if they had just put a green label on it. You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. So this guy's right here. This is like my pride and joy. Joe Palooka fights his way back. 1945. 9/6. Beautiful pinup on the back. This is off-white to white pages. It may not get buried with me, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. Well, I think you offered it for sale one time, and you said if nobody buys this book, it is getting graded and it is going to my grave with me.
Yeah. I said this thing is beautiful. It's mint. I'm like, this thing is about as beautiful as it gets, and I said it's manufactured without staples, and nobody bought it. So guess what? It'll be a cold day before I pass it on now.
Well, in your what's Dagwood Splits the Atom, that promotional book. Why
That's
that wasn't,
This one.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome book. But do we do we keep using CGC?
Well, so I'm going to be real honest. I'll be sending an order to CGC here in about a week. And the reason being why, as it sits, no matter how you look at it, they're still the standard.
Yeah.
And the difference in price between CGC and CBCS is about 20%, especially on major books.
Yeah, on major books, yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
The cheaper the book, the less it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about, House of Secrets 92, I'm getting ready to send in, right?
Yeah.
It's about a 7.5. It's about a $4,000 book in CGC.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly like 2.5 to 3 in CBCS. And what's sad is you could probably buy that CBCS if it's a relatively modern, relatively recent grade. Sure. Send it into CGC, get a better grade, right?
Or a way
and now it's worth way more.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's doing that continuously. He is buying recently graded CBCS keys.
A few years ago,
cracking them and sending them in.
Yeah, I was buying PGX keys.
Yep.
They
went complete shit.
Cheap, just because it was encased in a PGX, and then cracking that thing open and selling it straight to CGC, and it was like an immediate, like almost 100% profit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty ridiculous. But
what's another company right now that's out there? Is it SCG or SGC or?
Well, there's EGS.
Yeah,
right?
EGS. That's the one I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Which Kat knows the owner.
We talked to him a couple times. They had him on the interview, and I like their whole philosophy. The biggest problem they're having right now is their slab. They've got to figure out how to make a slab.
Well, he's got a mold now. Now we're just waiting because, honest to God, he has once he's done, he's got the best looking label in the market.
Yeah,
and he's going to have UV protection in the slabs.
And he is the only company that has come forward and actually told his standards, the books, how they're graded.
Yes.
I mean, you ask CGC or CBCS what their standards are on grading, and they're like, we just grade books. But he actually came out and explained the process and how he goes it and what criteria he sets on it.
Well,
what's his name? Is it Tony?
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony worked at CGC.
Yeah.
The creator of CBCS worked at CGC.
Yeah.
They had differences of opinions and said, well, guys, we're done here. I'm going to go start my own because I don't like the way you're going with your business.
Yeah.
I understand it wholeheartedly. I'll be honest. So right now, CGC, between CGC and CBCS, CGC has better labels. CBCS has better cases.
Yeah.
If you bring in PGX and EGS, EGS has the best labels by far, but they have the worst slabs. They're literally not much better than the do-it-yourself slabs with seal tape on it. So I mean, I get it. I get why people wouldn't want to use them right now. But when he fixes the slabs, man, the books themselves, guys, go on. If you haven't ever seen an EGS slab, go on eBay and just Google EGS Comix and look at some of these custom slab labels that he does. He can take colors from the comic and put them onto the actual label, and it's just like a continuation of the art. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I just messaged Tony seeing if he was around, see if he wanted to come on.
Oh, nice.
I'd like to actually get somebody's take on.
I would love to hear what he's got. I said we're talking about CGC right now. If you wanted to come on and talk about them and EGS, I'd love for it. So,
yeah.
If not, maybe he wants to do it next week or something, because I'm sure they'll step in another pile of shit next week.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, it's. I think they've started down a road that.
Oh yeah.
They're got to a point where they think we can do what we want to.
Clearly.
Well, here's the thing, man. When you're the industry standard, doesn't matter what it's in. You can do what you want until you do that one thing that's just a little too fucking far.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Have they jumped the shark? Is this the one that's too far? Do they?
I think their own
skate
exclusive
right through this with no blemish, or
I think their own. So I don't think they went too far with what they're doing with the artists. I think where they're going too far is what they're doing with big time collectibles and having their own fucking exclusive.
Yep.
I think that's the big fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly one of them.
Unless they say that we're going to have 600 copies of this book published, and we're going to take the 300 best, and we're going to burn the other 300.
Well, that's
the only way they could get away saying that they've quality controlled it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, they've got to do something along those freaking lines to be like, look, this is what we did. Like when Todd McFarlane, dude, came on and started destroying the rest of the King Spawn 1 and 250s.
Yeah.
Right? Once the deadline came for you to say, hey, mine's fucked up. All right. Last chance. And then he started fucking tearing them all off and tearing them apart. There's videos of it out there. And you're like, oh my God, why? The humanity.
Well,
give them to homeless kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I got mine, so I'm okay with it. Tear them up.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're going to have to do something like that.
That's called integrity.
If they just say, hey, we have our own exclusive, we had 300 copies and blah, 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 that's fucking different.
Let me go see if I can find that comment real quick. Because it all comes down to one thing. And it's integrity and it's honesty. It's all the back door stuff that's happening that's so bad. Like it's like they're not even trying to hide it.
No.
Yeah.
More or less, they're pushing it right in front of your face.
Yeah.
I mean, did we know when they did in-house signings for books? Did we know that they're going to get kind of better grades than maybe normal? Yeah, I think it was always kind of in the back of the mind that you're like, well, if I send it into them, I'm playing a premium that, you know, the artist isn't getting all that money I send to them. CGC's taking some of that money. So if they're taking some of that money, they're make sure you get your nice grade. So the next in-house signing they have, you're going to send some more books into.
Yeah. Well, and to a point that comes with the same thing with your like your blank cover approved artist books.
Sure.
You know, because I mean, if you generally sit down and look at a book that somebody's did art on, I mean, honestly, yeah, there'll be a 9.8 here or there, but they're more out there than are actually 9.8s. But I can understand why they do it. And you got to give a little on something like that because you got people drawing or
Well,
wood
yeah, I mean
burning or
they
whatever,
got
you know.
the cover, they're spinning it around, they're
Yeah,
got their hand on it, and I mean I get that.
but
I'm kind of
just
all right with that stuff. It's just it's the
the
behind the
counterfeit.
scenes stuff that you kind of always assumed is there, and now it's like, yeah, we don't even care now. We're just going to do it right in your face,
Yeah,
and we're going to bring the people that you suspected and put them all on a live stream and just flaunt it, like, hey, this ain't going to hurt us at all. So that's the problem I got right now, and I'm kind of speculating about what's going to happen to CGC. Do they skate right through? I feel like they're going to. As
well,
long as they're still commanding the premium, nobody's
exactly.
going to switch until then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Hell,
and you're a CGC certified.
yeah, but until the collecting community decides to hold them accountable and take their business elsewhere, it's not going to change.
Well, you're in that cycle right now where people might have hundreds of books in at CGC to be graded.
Yeah,
Well, they don't want that premium to go away because they got 100 books in there.
exactly.
The next guy that's thinking about sending books in there is like, well, they're still getting the premium. I guess I'll send some books to them. So it's like you almost have to just cut them off, and
Yeah,
everybody kind of has to do that as a collective. And I just don't see that happening. So I think they kind of skirt right past this, and
business as
eventually,
usual.
eventually, if you're not built on a solid foundation, the house collapses. And I think they're really testing the strength of that foundation right now.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it all comes back down to that almighty dollar.
Yep.
But this is what I've been doing for the last 2 years since I've got back into it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm looking for something for my personal collection, I look for CBCS first. Because
Well,
I know I'm going to get a
CBCS,
better, more accurate grade, in my
you're
opinion, on
gonna
it.
get an
And then I'm
accurate
going to get it
grade,
at a cheaper price.
and you're gonna get it at a cheaper price. You're exactly right. Now, PGX, as far as keys and stuff, they do spend more time on them, so your grade's gonna be fairly decent. It might be off a little bit, hopefully a little bit low on your end.
Yeah.
That way you can profit more. But people see PGX, and I mean, they're hard to get rid of. I've bought PGX books on the cheap and tried to resell them, and it didn't matter what it is. People don't want to buy it just because it's
Yeah,
in a
they don't.
PGX case.
Yeah, it's like they're as the old saying went, the red-headed stepchild of the whole bunch.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't in it when they came in. I wasn't collecting at the time, so I don't really know how that happened or whatever. But I own 3 PGX books.
Yeah.
And I bought them because it was stuff going in the personal collection.
Sure.
And it was so much cheaper than getting a CGC.
Sure.
Or a CBCS. And
a lot of times when you get a PGX, there is so much meat left on the bone.
Yeah.
That if you wanted to send in to CGC, that you can do that and still be well below fair market value.
I'm not gonna lie. I might have a built-in eBay filter that searches for PGX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And also EGS.
Yeah.
So I know a guy that bought a New Mutants 98 first appearance of Deadpool. And he paid $1,300 for it. It was a 9.8 copy. I won't say what company it was.
Okay.
But he bought it. He paid $1,300 for it. It was a newsstand.
Okay.
He sent it into CGC. He got a 9.8 back.
Nice.
He sold that for $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's like, I know for a fact one of the PGX books I've got, I got it so cheap because it was PGX. I could break it open and sell the raw book and make a profit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
it's sickening because they're not bad grading services, but it's like they have a stink on them, like there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, and
you're like, no,
I don't know what happened to cause that. I wouldn't, like I said, I wasn't in that.
Yeah.
I was out of it for several years collecting.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the difference between CBCS, PGX, and CGC is they're not CGC.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, as far as quality control goes, yeah, PGX
lacks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, their labels aren't great. Their slabs aren't great, but you know what? They're encapsulated and they're protected.
True.
So, I mean, they're certainly worth cracking open. I know that for sure. No damage is happening to those books in those cases.
Yeah. But it's like I've got a book, and J1 knows the book. I mean, I bought it from him. I got my first appearance, Son of Satan, from J1, and I've talked to him about this. And because that's a PC book, it's probably going to go back to him in the near future. Let Mrs. Presser do a little work on it, and it's going to CBCS because it's a personal collection book.
And
I'm not looking to resell whatever, but at this point in time, until something changes, I mean, if you're trying to make the most you can, it's still CGC, but it's not going to change until the CBCS prices catch up. And you might actually see that now.
So I'll tell you what, if I was getting books slabbed for my personal collection and there was no resale possible, nothing in the future, I would send them to EGS.
Yeah.
The labels are beautiful once he gets his new slab approved, and that's why I would love Tony to come on, because I don't know if they have got their new slab approved yet, but I mean, he does a real nice job. Real nice job. And he grades well, too.
Yes.
So, I mean,
one EGS slab, it's stuck back here in the personal collection box. Yeah. And it's one of my favorites, but the slabs, it looks great, but they get that slab down, and I think that they could really be a major.
The thing I've always wanted.
It's going to be another option. It's actually going to be a good option.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if they get, and the thing that I've wanted for like the last 10 years, I've wanted a case with UV protection.
Exactly.
And if they get that, it's
going to be a game changer.
It absolutely is, because you can have your books on every wall in your room and have the window open, not worried about getting your sun bleached and tanned and all that stuff.
Exactly.
It'd be awesome. So, well, Jay, what do you think? Have we gotten our point across, or?
I think we have. I just found an X-Men #1. PGX 40 for $15,000.
Yeah.
There's a lot of meat on that bone.
Right? Yeah. Let's say you crack it and you submit it to CGC and it comes back a 3.0.
Hey.
Guess what? You're still a lot of money there.
Yep.
I find that funny.
I just need $15,000 sitting around.
I think Cam's would kill me. But no, you know, we haven't been beating a dead horse. That's the thing. You know, we're talking about CGC and how they're pieces of shit. which that's not a dead horse. That's a very live and able horse at this point in time.
Oh yeah.
So I think we can get the pinata bats out and put those away, and get the t-ball bats out and let the kids start swinging away. Because the pinata bats are not going to crack it.
But I mean, I literally cannot wait to see what happens this week. I mean, they just don't care. It's like a celebrity that's slowly losing their mind. You just you can't wait to see what happens next.
Yes.
So I'm waiting for the CGC with the shaved head and the umbrella trying to bust out a window in a car. You know.
That's funny.
So.
Yes. It's just, I don't know.
It's insulting. It's almost comical. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and I hate shitting on the influencers because I want them to do well. And whatnot,
I don't. I don't.
You don't want the influencers?
They don't influence me. Why do we call them influencers? That's my question.
But they're sellers.
They influence the market, though.
That's what's, and the only reason they influence the market is because we let them. That's what's terrible.
Well, we don't have the same reach they do. Would I love to influence the market? I would love to, but I would also love to influence it in a good way.
Well, thing is too. I mean, if you're a real collector, what I call a real collector, you can go about it and collect the way you want to, and you should collect the way you want to. You should collect what you want to collect and not let anybody influence how your collection grows and what you get in it.
I can't imagine the people over the last couple of years with all these influencers that have been buying all the books they've been pushing and just having zero continuity to their collections and zero, what's your collection of? What do you collect? And you look through their stuff. Oh, you collect whatever Comic Tom told you to, or you collect whatever, so and so. It's like these books mean nothing to you. You're just
silver and gold.
That's what you've got a lot of people like that. Just they're in it and they're buying it like stock. Yeah, it's the same thing that happened back in the 90s when, I hate to say it, is great series and everything, but the two books that killed it in the 90s was The Death of Superman and X-Men 1.
Oh, yeah. Over 5 million copies of each.
Yeah, and and the reason it died so quick and everything went kablooey there for years is because you had people outside the collecting industry coming in and thinking they were going to get rich. Same thing with Youngblood 1. Well, Ben, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to pay my kids away to college.
Well, so let me tell you a secret, right? Eventually they might be able to, because that's the exact same thing that happened in the 90s with X-Men 1 and the death, the whole reign of Superman reign and all that other stuff, right? Happened in 1968. And for those of you guys that don't know a lot of comic history, right? So Marvel had a few main stories, right? They had Tales of Suspense, Strange Tales, Tales to Astonish, right? Yep. In 1968, they got, I won't say bought out, but they kind of did.
Yeah.
And what did that cause? A complete and total restructure of everything they did.
Yeah.
Now individual characters were getting individual storyline runs, right? They went from Tales of Suspense, they went to Captain America 100 and Iron Man #1. From Strange Tales, they went to Doctor Strange 169. Brother Voodoo, continuing on 2 years later with Strange Tales, but they also went to Hulk went to Hulk 102. I mean, all of these individual stories, characters that they used to do these team ups with constantly, now have their own storylines because they were like, wait, we could double our comic book output, triple our comic book output
Absolutely.
And that was when they started raising prices.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they went from 10 cents to 12 cents. 2 years later, 15 cents.
Mm-hmm.
2 years later, 20 cents.
Mm-hmm.
3 years later, 25 cents. Right? So as much as we hated the 90s and talk about that, they did the same thing damn near 60 years ago.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the thing is, it's like if you look back at the 90s, there's still some good books that came out of there. I mean, personally, me would like owning a store. The funniest thing between then and now, it was like New Mutants. Nobody was looking for 98 unless it was to finish their run, because it was, and it wasn't because of first appearance of Deadpool. Nobody cared about Deadpool.
Nobody gave two shits about Deadpool.
It was
back then.
Gideon.
Yeah, they wanted
They
Gideon.
thought he was going to be the next big villain. But everybody wanted that Cable, the 87.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That was the book out of that run to get. And now that's totally flip-flop.
So if I was to pick one character that says 90s, it's Cable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is 100%
well
90s.
The other one that I would say label him right next to him is X-Men 282.
Oh, Gambit?
Not Gambit. Bishop.
Oh, Bishop. Oh, yeah.
Bishop,
Same archetype. Same archetype. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like I would literally, and they run right around the same. Like Cable runs a little bit more in price, but not by much.
No.
Yeah,
in today's market,
it's literally the same archetype. I mean, it's just one's black, one's white.
Exactly.
Right? You know, but very similar. I mean,
similar
dressed
powers,
almost the
similar
same.
stories.
Yeah, exactly. Gun
both from the
wielders.
future.
Yeah, exactly. But
no,
all right.
I don't know.
I mean,
Do we have another show to go to?
Oh, I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Let me check.
Nothing on my phone. But we're pretty much at about 2 hours here, so
Yeah.
we keep taking those tangents, which is basically what this show's based on.
Well, it's got to be.
Is tangents. So.
Oh my God.
I can't get too heated. That's one of the things they told me. I'm not supposed to get too.
Yeah.
That was
simmer down now.
Yeah, I'm supposed to simmer down now a little bit.
Don't read the news.
They said I could still drink once a week, but that's it.
Well, I mean, you gotta anticoagulate.
Exactly. Gotta keep that blood thin.
You need it. So, all right, fellas. Well, T-Pain, thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Oh, thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. J1, what's that? Oh yeah,
this is Spotty.
Oh, you got
Spotty
One Punch Man
Tumbler
on there.
That is Saitama from One Punch Man.
Yeah, nice.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But
all right, fellas.
Hold on before you click the buttons. Let me do this real quick. Okay, guys, you know what it is. Look forward to seeing the next book coming up. Hopefully, maybe next week we might get to listen to Fantastic Four #1, but it might be the week after.
We'll do what
just
we
depending on shipping. All right, if it gets here quick, we might have enough time to edit it and do it. Also, MadHouse Monday, Wednesday, Friday auctions live. 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be there.